All right, welcome everybody to Saratoga Whiskey Club tasting number 164. We're celebrating Bruichladdich today. I mean, there shouldn't be just a day to celebrate Bruichladdich. We tasted Bruichladdich throughout the year quite a bit. A bunch of us were just at the distillery in June. I mean, every day is Bruichladdich Day. I mean, it doesn't need to be September 11th, but we'll take this momentous day of memory of September 11th and celebrate Bruichladdich as well. How about that? We'll cheer everybody up with a little Bruichladdich. And yeah, so we have a really fun tasting tonight. Some pretty special bottles. I know a couple of people that are here have tasted a couple of these, but not many really, because when we were at the distillery, they didn't have the 3.2. I don't think any of us have tasted the SMWS bottling. So there's some stuff that some of us haven't had before. So this is a lot of fun. But for those that don't know, every May, end of May, is the big festival on Isla called the Festival. And every day, a distillery or two will celebrate their whiskey making. And Bruichladdich is always the second day of the festival. It's the Sunday of the first weekend. And the last day of the festival is the following Saturday, and that's always Ardbeg Day. So the first day is really Saturday, and that's Lagavulin Day. And then Sunday is Bruichladdich Day. And then throughout the week is basically everybody else, and then Ardbeg to wrap things up. Bruichladdich, for those that don't know, is on a body of water, like a bay on Isla, and that bay itself is called Lockendal. Lockendal is the name of the water source that's right there. They don't get their water from there. It's obviously salty seawater, but that's the bay that's right in front of their distillery. So when COVID hit, the festival was canceled for 2 years in a row, 2020 and 21. They were planning on running in 21, but then we had that spike again, and they decided in the best interest of the residents on Isla that they would cancel again, which was really tough. To go 2 years without this huge money-making festival and celebration on this tiny island was a big blow. So when they did have their first festival back in 2022 after the COVID, they decided to kind of rebrand their whole festival experience. And they've always been a big party. They're one of the best parties of the festival for sure. They bring in really great music. They have lots of drams. They have really good food, the whole 9 yards. But they called this festival Rock'n'Doll. That was their play on Lockendal, which is the body of water in front of the distillery. And they made it into this rock and roll kind of festival mood, which was really fun. And then not only that, the bottles, as you'll see as I hold them up, or if you look at the picture that came with the email, they're really festive, colorful bottles, kind of really celebrating, you know, this new rock and roll kind of theme. So we're going to start out with actually the first two bottles that they released after COVID. Hey guys, if you can just keep it down when I'm talking, that'd be great. The first two bottles that were released after COVID were Rock'n'Doll 1.1 and 1.2. And these were in celebration of the first festival that, you know, happened on Isla after COVID. And I have not tasted these yet. I didn't go to the festival, but I did have these shipped to me over 2 years ago. Well, actually, it was about 2 years ago because it took a little bit to get to me. But I've been sitting on these for 2 years, basically, waiting to just find the right time to take them out and to taste them. And since we were just on Isla in June, we were able to pick up the 3.1, and I was able to get a bottle of the 3.2 from my friend Greg, the director of the Water of Life. So we have 1.1, 1.2, 3.1, 3.2. So that's pretty cool. We don't have last year's releases, but that's okay. We've got 4 of these pretty awesome rockin' dolls to try. So this first one, let's get right into it because we have six wonderful drams tonight. I'm going to read what they say on their site because it's kind of important. It says the Bruichladdich Rockin' Doll 1.1 encapsulates the essence of Islay through a blend of the distillery's 3 malts, Bruichladdich, Port Charlotte, and Octomore. It is a limited edition from Fagile 2022 with a production of 2,500 bottles. Each whiskey in the blend is made from Islay grown barley, so all local barley, aged in bourbon casks, and presented at 50% ABV with no chill filtering or added coloring. This release is part of the Rockin' Doll series, aligning with Bruichladdich commitment to authenticity and innovation. It stands as a testament to the distillery's blending mastery, offering a complex whiskey that retains the character of its constituent spirits. As a collectible, the Rockin' Doll 1.1 reflects the distillery's craft-driven approach to whiskey making. It's notable for its limited availability and representation of the Islay Fagile Festival. The whiskey is positioned as a sought-after item for collectors and investors, prioritizing the whiskey's craftsmanship and Islay heritage. So, being non-collectors as a club, we're opening our bottle. I don't even know what these are worth now. So only 2,500 bottles, which isn't a lot when you consider how many people go to the festival every year. And there's only 2,000 people that live on the island. So, you know, I'm sure they grab a bunch of these. But so this is a blend of the 3 malts that Bruichladdich makes. So we have Bruichladdich, which is the unpeated spirit. We have Port Charlotte, which is their peated spirit. And then we have the Octomore, which is their heavily peated spirit. So this is a blend of the 3. It doesn't have percentages, so we don't know that, but we do know it's aged in bourbon. And we don't have an age statement either on this one. Hey, Tony. Hey, Tony. So we are starting with some smoke. Obviously, there's going to be some Octomore and Port Charlotte in this. You know, I was thinking about doing things unpeated to peated, but you know what? It's Bruichladdich. We're just going to jump all over the place and just roll with it and go in order as best we can.
I'm getting some heather, some herbal qualities to it. But it's very much
$500 online. So a bottle of this is going for about 500 right now.
It's got that honey sweetness.
Yeah, definitely getting that kind of farm note on this. I think, you know, with a lot of the Islay barley releases, you do kind of get that hay, heather kind of note to it. There definitely is a lot of bourbon notes though as well. I'm definitely getting that vanilla and that citrus that's coming through, some honey notes as well. Not heavily peated by any means, but definitely a light smoke. And some medicinal qualities too.
I think it's really easy to pull out the 3 different components in this. I think you can really, if you focus on, you can really pinpoint each one within there.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you know, what I've always gotten with the classic Lottie, you know, any of the Bruichladdich releases is kind of this crisp, almost citrus kind of note, you know, maybe orchard fruit note, clean. And that definitely is coming through on this, you know, and then the Port Charlotte is kind of that middle, I don't know, there's a little bit of this hint of ash kind of in there. And then the Octomore is, you know, got its own finish. I mean, I'm getting the Octomore more on the finish than I think anything.
Last week I was brutal.
Very dry,
It's dry.
dry, yeah.
What do you guys think of this one?
Love it. It's unique, just in terms of, those three blends together. Take like the three most favorite that I like from there and put this all together. To get this, it just, I'm thinking of Iowa. When you take a breath of the air, you know, it's just, it's there.
Yeah. I mean, that's an important thing. So Vinny was saying, I don't know if you guys could hear him or not, but he was saying, you know, he's kind of taking the best components of each of their three different expressions and combining them together. And it kind of brings you back to Isla in a way. You know, one of the things that Bruichladdich is known for is their provenance, you know, the fact that they want to be associated with local barley and, you know, the Octomore farm and all of that kind of story. So, you know, that's kind of a nice note to think that we're starting off just right back at the island. Anybody getting salt, salinity on this?
Especially on the nose, I guess.
On the nose,
Way more than
yeah.
palate.
Yeah, I agree. It is on the nose a lot.
I added a drop of water and that peat really punches you in the face then.
Yeah, sometimes it does happen when you add water, the peat comes out more. I'm gonna add a couple drops myself here and see. It's only 50%, so it's not a super high proof bomb by any means. I'm definitely getting more of the grain notes when I add the water on the nose. Actually rounds it out pretty nicely with some water.
Yeah, it does.
Huh. I actually might like it better with a couple of drops. So I'm just curious of the people that are here, of the Bruichladdich expressions, you know, do you have a favorite? Is it the unpeated? Is it Port Charlotte? Or is it Octomore? Does anybody want to throw out their favorite of the three?
Me, it's probably the Port Charlotte.
Port Charlotte?
I do love Octomore, but drinking that all the time, that's like, I could drink more Port Charlotte than I could Octomore.
Okay, Port Charlotte. We've got some Port Charlotte. Anybody else?
Yeah, Port Charlotte, but going there, I got a better appreciation for just the unseasoned.
Yeah.
But Port Charlotte.
Okay. Anybody online?
Well, I like all three of them a lot, but I think I really like the classic Lottie.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting with the unpeated, with the classic Lottie and some of the other, like we'll have the single cask, of the third one we're having, which is unpeated. You really get to taste the spirit, you know.
Yep.
Not that peat necessarily hides the spirit, it doesn't, you can still taste it, but when you have that unpeated, completely unpeated, you can really almost taste it coming off the still, and or at least what they're trying to get at with the barley. You know, I love the way that their smoke integrates with their barley, but there's something about the classic unpeated Bruichladdich that I really love. That I think that might be my favorite, actually, of all of them.
But it's a little bit like Three Children, though. You kind of shouldn't have a favorite, but
Oh, no. And pretty cool bottle with the design. I don't know, pretty funky. They were handing out mushrooms at the Bruichladdich day, and people were flying high. No, I'm just kidding. All right, so Everybody good with Rock'n'Doll 1.1? Ready to move on to number 2? Yeah.
Sure.
All right, so here's number 2. It's kind of got a funky little, what is that? A farm lighthouse? I think it's a distillery. That must be the Lock and Doll right there in front of it. The body of water. Okay, let's read about this one. So 1.2, also limited edition. Again, just 2,500 bottles. This one is also integrating all 3 malts. So Bruichladdich, Port Charlotte, and Octomore. This edition exemplifies the distillery's innovation, blending multiple vintages aged in European wine and sherry casks. It's produced without chill filtration or color addition, maintaining the natural essence of the spirit. 50% ABV again. Yeah, so kind of similar to 1.1. It's just we're in wine and sherry now.
Do you know if it's the same percentage as the 1.1?
I don't. It doesn't say.
Okay.
Yeah. And I tried online to find more information and I couldn't, which is kind of unusual with Bruichladdich. Usually you can find too much information, but oh wow, beautiful nose.
Mm-hmm.
Is anybody getting smoke on the nose on this?
Like,
Just a little bit?
almost just like a sulfury smoke. Get it, but it's tough to break through the sherry.
Yeah, Ari, you can't pick the Yellow Submarine. I'm sorry. That's not fair to the rest of us.
Okay, but I could pick the golf series.
You can
Right?
pick the Golf Series, I guess. Yeah.
Okay. 'Cause those were amazing. When they were dumping all that stuff from the basement and they were like $30 a bottle.
Yeah.
I was scooping all that up, not realizing what I was buying.
Yeah.
Just
Those are
buying and
special-
drinking.
Special times.
Yeah.
Sure.
Was this the same spirit finished differently or?
Yes.
not? Same blend?
I don't know if the percentages are the same, but it is the 3 different expressions. So one of the things that we have to remember about Bruichladdich is they were the innovators on Isla. They truly, Jim McEwen, and Mark Rainier, they both together set Isla on fire with innovation and Bruichladdich. So one of the big pieces of that was playing around with wine casks, and they became really, really good at it and really unique stuff. And back in the day, they were releasing all of these crazy bottlings, and a lot of them were experiments. But Jim McEwen knew what he was doing, and he would taste these things and figure out what tweaks needed to happen. And they really, they sparked a kind of innovative revolution across Scotland, not just on Isla, but all across Scotland. We see some of that with Glenmorangie and some other distilleries up north, but Bruichladdich was huge when it came to that. And so this dram kind of brings me back to that thought of, the wine notes. One of the best warehouse tastings. I remember my first warehouse tasting was there was a Chateau Rothschild wine cask that they had, and they wouldn't tell you which winery it was from because Rothschild didn't want anything, they didn't want their name out there or anything associated with it. And but they kind of winked, and said this is where it's from. But amazing the stuff that they do with the wine casks. Yeah, which European wine is it? That's a good question. I think that's pretty hard figure out. Riesling, Doug says Riesling. I don't know about that, but
Yeah, it's like ash, like.
that'd be, I mean, you never know, but, what, are you serious when you say that, Doug? No, okay. I was gonna say, I was out of left field. Yeah, Alsatian ice wine, that's it, for sure. Definitely, it's the Niagara on the Lake ice wine cask. All right, so of the first two, bourbon or sherry wine, what do people prefer?
Yeah, two I like a little better.
All these sherry freaks. All right.
Sherry's very new.
How about online? We have a consensus of one or two?
One.
One, okay. One, all right. We got some one, all right. Couple of twos, all right. I think I'm leaning one, just because it's more kind of in front, you know, it's not, I like sherry, don't get me wrong, but I think I'm getting a lot more of the spirit with number one that I want to taste. Seems like a pretty heavy wine and sherry maturation. Which one are you getting more smoke on? Interesting. How about water with this one? Anybody do that?
Oh, yeah, water made, get much more like cherry.
Don't be afraid of water. I know there's some people that are sticklers with drinking at cash strength, and that's the only way I'm going to have it. But sometimes water is a good thing. Just saying, this isn't cash strength anyhow, but still. One of the most interesting things I saw was a tasting a long time ago with Charles McLean down in New York City with the Scotch Malt Whiskey Society, and the amount of water he put into each dram, and we were doing a blind tasting, like half of it was water. And I was like, wow. I mean, and I know he drinks a lot of whiskey and he's got to drink a lot of water to stay alive and all of that, but that was the way he was nosing. I mean, that was how he approached these whiskeys. He put a ton of water in there and just swished it around and put it in his mouth and kept it in there for a while. And that's how he did it. And he's a master. So nothing wrong with some water. Yeah, there you go, Tom. So true.
Yeah, I almost think the water brought something out that feels almost a little off. I don't know. I liked it better without the water.
Yeah, I'm actually agreeing with you. I like the first one with water. I don't like this one as much with water. What it brought out to me was like a sharpness, actually. Sometimes water
The what?
a sharpness, like a
Yeah.
not a bite, but kind of a bite. I don't know. It's it didn't smooth it out at all. It actually made it for me the other way, but that's not going to be for everyone. How you doing, Jeff?
Great, thanks. Sorry about showing up late.
I got baby priorities. I mean, you know.
Yeah, trust me, I ran in here as soon as the last one was done. Tell you what. Which one are we on right now? Sorry.
We're on number 2.
We're just wrapping up number 2.
Is that 3.2?
1.2.
Okay, thanks.
Well, those were really fun. I'm glad we were able to open these and enjoy these. There's nothing like that, and that's what this club is all about, is sharing some special bottles. All right, we good with the Rock and Doll 1.1 and 1.2? Yeah, all right. All right, so when we were there in June, one of the things that is fun about these trips and traveling in general is that you never know what you're going to expect and what you're going to find when it comes to bottles. I can tell the whiskey's already kicking in here in the shop. One of the hard parts about traveling is knowing how much room to save in your suitcase, right? Because you're literally engulfed with opportunity to buy bottles left and right, especially when you're in Scotland. How you doing? Oh. Oh, somebody came in. Oh, cool. So again, you're just trying to understand how many bottles you should hope for, or maybe there's distilleries that you're focusing on or targeting that you want to stock up on or whatever. So it's a challenge. It's a really challenge. And when you go to Isla, especially if you're flying, suitcases can be a problem. Because the airlines don't really want you to have 2. We do bring 2, but they're pretty bad about weight and all that. So this next bottle was one of those random, do I buy it or do I not buy it bottles. We had a quick stop at a pretty cool little shopping complex where Isla Gin is located. There's also a great whiskey shop there. And then there's this wonderful photography shop called Ben Shakespeare's Photography. And I had been in Ben Shakespeare's shop before, and they have a coffee stand there. And I was like, I need coffee. So I went in there and I was going to look at some of the photographs. Well, it turns out Ben had had the ability to buy a cask, or I don't remember how it worked exactly, but he had the opportunity to get a cask from Bruichladdich, and he bought it. And this was a cask that he had gotten a long time ago, and he decided that this was the year that they were going to bottle it and share it. Now, they did have it open, which was really nice, so you could taste it. Each bottle actually came with a 50 ml little sample as well, so you could, if you didn't feel like opening this, you could just taste that. There were only 100 bottles of this bottling. So this is a single cask Bruichladdich. This is 15 years old. It is bourbon matured. It is unpeated. So we're going back to kind of the think classic laddie, but a 15-year classic laddie. This is 55.2% ABV. Cask number 1531. And it's a private single cask. So sometimes you'll see these labels on the back of Bruichladdich bottles, which are basically private label single cask. So people who bought barrels. And this one's called the Lower 2 Octomore. That's what he called it, even though it's unpeated. There's no Octomore peat smoke, but I'm can't remember if the barley might be from Octomore Farm or not, but let's go ahead and give this a crack.
And is it that Bruichladdich still sells casks?
They do, but you have to have really great connections. So one of the friends of mine who owns a really great restaurant in Wishaw is called the Artisan, and him and another gentleman, John McDougall, they run the Friends of Bruichladdich, and it's a huge Facebook group now, and with people from all over the world, and they get quite a few casks from time to time that they will release and sell through their restaurant. Yeah, so Doug was mentioning Dram Pool in the chat. They also had a special, when Jim McEwen retired, Dram Pool was able to get a number of barrels from Jim McEwen's inventory. All very special bottles that they've been releasing slowly over time. I don't know if they're out of those now at this point. I haven't been keeping up too well, but yeah, there's still more to come. Yeah. So I think there were 16 casks that Jim McEwen had gotten that he was giving to Dram Pool or selling to Dram Pool for release. But you will see other Bruichladdich, like for example, right now in our shop, just this week, we got a 20-year Bruichladdich single cask from Creetown Distillers, which is an independent bottler. And it's actually a really good price. It's only $250. And for a 20-year Bruichladdich, that's actually very cheap. Most 20-year plus Bruichladdich are closer to 300 or more. It's not impossible to get casks from there, but they are rarer than some other distilleries. Let's put it that way. Ooh, this is really good. This is really syrupy too. It's got a lot of viscosity. This reminds me of what maybe a Single Cask Nation bottling would be like, because they love that thick kind of viscosity in their barrels.
Got a nice warm finish.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I love the butteriness on this. Definitely honey notes coming through galore. Definitely getting that lemon citrus note on the tip of my tongue. It's all lemon right now. Wow. This is yeah, somebody mentioned summertime dram. I think this is a year-round dram. I don't think this is summertime dram, but this is pretty good. I think a bunch of people got one of these. Did you get one? Yeah, I did. Chad, did you get one of these? Yeah, wow. Lucky guys.
Not open. Oh, I opened one. Fitting is open.
The small ones had open. I actually opened it before.
Oh, that's really good. You know, sometimes you have to when you have a couple of peated expressions like we did, and now we're getting into unpeated, it takes a little bit, right, to get adjusted to no smoke. And usually that second or third sip is where it really starts to become normal. And that each sip on this is getting better though, like really better. And the first sip was really good for me too. So I'm really digging this one. Now, one of the really cool things about buying this bottle is it also came with a photograph that Ben had taken, and I'm gonna blow it on the name now. Shoot, I can't remember. Hold on, let me look it up. It's an incredible photograph of the previous master distiller of Bruichladdich, not Jim McEwen, but it's of him standing in the warehouse pulling a sample from one of the barrels. Oh, it was the general manager. Sorry, not the. No, wait. No, it wasn't Duncan. It was somebody else. I can't remember now. But it's a beautiful black and white photo of him pulling a sample out of one of the barrels. That actually came with the bottle, which is really cool. So pretty special. There you go. Somebody pulled it up. I don't know if you can
Oh,
see.
nice.
Yeah, so we each got a numbered, there are only 100 photos. 100 bottles, 100 photos. Do you remember who that was? Yeah, it was. Yeah, I can't remember his name. That's horrible. That's horrible. Sorry, Bruichladdich. I'm really sorry. I hope you let me back. I hope you let me back. All right, so are we good? That one sucked. So I think we need to move on. Got to have something better than that last one. Jeez. I'm joking. Huh? Oh, wow. That's a great compliment. So we had somebody just say that was the best scotch they've ever had. So, wow. Pretty cool. Okay, so we're going to move on to this year's festival.
Oh, yes. I love this one.
And we're going to the 3.1. Now look at this bottle. I mean, talk about your Bruichladdich aquamarine. Looks like you're on a boat. Looks like you've got a bunch of flags on a boat.
Back to my shirt. I was just saying. Back to my shirt.
Vinny's got the shirt on that has the same design. So, all right. So we're having the Rock'n'Doll 3.1. This was this year's festival release. These next two are from this year. Again, we don't have the 2.1 or the 2.2. That would have been a pretty epic 1 point. That would have been pretty cool. But all right, so this one's 3,000 bottles. So they've upped their production a little bit. We were able to get this when we were there. We had it shipped, which was nice. Let me give you the tasting notes on this one for the specifications. All right. So this was distilled in 2013. This is unpeated. It is 100% Scottish barley. It's not Islay barley, it's Scottish barley. Who knows if there's some of it is Islay or not, but they just say Scottish barley. It's 10 years old. It first began its maturation life in bourbon casks. From 2017 to 2023, it was recast into a specific combination of, and here we go, 12.5% Sauterne, 12.5% Austrian dessert wine, and ex-brandy casks from Fernando de Castilla, Spain, which previously held Pedro Jimenez Sherry, that makes up 75% of this. And then it was married in ex-bourbon cask before bottling. So they took all of these different recast spirits, again, going back to the kind of incredible blending ability that Bruichladdich has. They took Sauterne, Austrian dessert wine, and sherry, and then put it back in bourbon for marrying. This is 50% ABV. So just similar to the first 1.1 and the 1.2, 50%.
Nothing but cherry on the nose. In a good way.
There's a little bit of sugar though. I'm getting like some of that dessert wine is coming through, but it's in a sugar form. It's not the red fruit, dried fruit form. Like almost think like an icing or a cake icing or muffin icing, cupcake
I can
icing.
get that.
So this is pretty delicate. It's going to be a little hard to drink after the last one, actually. 55.2 to 50% doesn't seem like that big of a drop, but sometimes it can be. And this one actually, I think it's going to take some water, not water added, but water. Drink some water, maybe a cracker. Clear your palate. 50. Because it's pretty soft.
Yeah. I find it interesting how comparing this to the Rock'n'Doll 1.2, because they kind of with the sherry there, the wine and sherry casks, how they got it in 2 years. They did a much better job, I think,
Yeah.
marrying these than they did with the 1.2.
And you have to remember, this is unpeated Bruichladdich too, so it's maybe a little bit easier to marry those as well when you're not dealing with any smoke. But I agree. I think this one is better than, well, not everybody's going to think that, but I like this one better than the sherry version before. Oh, I like that. Somebody mentioned agave. There is a little bit of an agave kind of note to this. It's like this fresh, almost a little bit sour kind of note to it as well. I don't know. I mean, sure, if they have them. You didn't buy one of these?
Oh, I got one.
He's telling me I didn't like. I never stopped anybody from getting whatever they wanted.
Honestly, I wasn't gonna buy it. Once I bought the.
We had 18 bottles shipped over from Bruichladdich when we were there in June. And the more you ship, supposedly the price per bottle on the shipping will go down. Well, it didn't really go down. We paid a lot on shipping. It was kind of crazy. But it was worth it. We're tasting it. Hey, Rob. Rob Madeira in the house.
Hello. I got to change my name.
Yeah, you do. So Rob, we're on the 3.1, the fourth whiskey.
Probably open the bag, I guess.
Yes. I really like this. I think this is pretty tasty. It is soft. It is hard to come after the one we just had, but I think it's well balanced. all I could think about are all the people that were at Bruichladdich Day this year drinking this. There were probably a lot of people drinking this. It was probably the dram that was being handed around versus the 20-year Port Charlotte. This is the easier one of the of the two to get your hands on, that's for sure. What do you guys think? I know Ari chimed in. You liked it? Yep. Anybody else? Doug shaking his head. Yeah.
I mean, I agree with whoever's at the shop that said agave. I mean, I think that's kind of the main note that I'm picking up. But again, it's like a really delicious, very sweet agave, but it's just not, I don't know. I'm having a hard time picking it up.
Anybody here? What do you guys think of this one? You like it? Number one.
The only reason I bought that bottle is because it matched my shirt.
Oh, wow. Vinny's working backwards. He said he bought the bottle because he bought the shirt first. I don't know about that. That's kind of backwards thinking. Yeah, see, all these people are sherry fans. I think that's the challenge. No, it's 75% sherry though. That's crazy. I know. It's not as sherry as the first one, 1.2. But yeah. 75%. I do love the nose on this. What's interesting, and I don't know if anybody can answer this, but I'm looking at the bottle. They have a little symbol on the lower left-hand side. It says matured in brandy and sweet wine casks. But then on their website, which is what I just read, was the different percentages. What's the brandy? Sauterne isn't brandy. And Austrian dessert wine isn't brandy. And oh, that's what it is.
I thought you said there was an ex-brandy cask.
All right, so I was totally wrong. Okay, it's not sherry. It's ex-brandy that previously held Pedro Jimenez sherry. So that's why we're not getting that heavy sherry note, and the color is lighter because it's ex-brandy cask. Okay, got it. Yeah, I'm going to retract the sherry freaks comment I made. Hide your pets. Hide your pets. All right. All right, so we're gonna do, everybody good with 3.1? All right. I apologize on the cask reference there. I think I read it, but then I didn't register. Okay. So we're gonna move on to these next two are really special bottles. Kind of the way to go out on a Bruichladdich tasting for sure. And I hope I'm not going too fast. If I am, let me know. Am I going too fast? Never. I got a bunch of lushes in here. These guys brought their own flasks to drink between drams. I'm just kidding. All right. So we're going to do the 3.2. This one is a, let me read the notes on this one. Distilled in 2004, aged 20 years, heavily peated, 40 ppm, 100% Scottish barley, full term maturation in bourbon 70%, and first fill Sauterne 30%. So bourbon and Sauterne 54% ABV. So we're a little higher on the ABV with this Rock and Doll release. And this one was only 1,500 bottles. And that's why this one was not available when we were at the distillery in June. It had already sold out. However, Greg, the director of the Water of Life, was nice enough to get me a bottle when he was getting his bottles. And he said it was probably going to be sold out. So I said, all right, let's do it. Yeah, so I'm really excited to taste this. I have not tasted this yet.
What was the ABV again?
54%. $54. Wow. Okay. Now we're talking. 70% bourbon and 30% Sauternes. Full maturation for 20 years in Sauternes. Yeah.
How many years?
No, Sauternes is a dessert
20.
wine.
Thank you.
No, no tie to sherry. It was 20 years full maturation in both bourbon and Sauternes. It's just 70% bourbon, 30% Sauternes. Might be my favorite of the night. I hate to say it.
Wow, this is really special.
Yeah, these weren't cheap. By the time shipping and all that was included, it was up there. I think $280 or something like that. Yeah, but with shipping, yeah. What do you guys
I
think?
really like this one.
Yeah,
I really like it. I feel like when I first taste it, I'm getting that bourbon oakiness, and then it just like falls off a cliff, and then the Sauternes like just comes in, wipes it out, and then the finish is just this nice the peat just sits there in your mouth.
yeah. No, that's a great description. It definitely takes you on a journey. It's not a one, style whiskey. It's a roller coaster a little bit. It's a beautiful bottle too. It has this really cool design on it, and so I think Shalom, who was here looking at the bottle, said it was the exact replica of a rock and roll album, and I can't remember which one he said it was, but it's got like this mountain scene kind of thing going on. It's hard to tell what the hell it is. maybe oh, Joy Division. Is it? Could it be? Oh, maybe. All right, there you go. We got the music guy in the. Yeah. 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 It's not a number though, or it's not one of their PC whatevers. Yeah. It's literally the Rock and Doll 3.2. 20 years, yeah. Beautiful bottle. This is bottle 380 out of 1500. No, we're not finishing. I actually have to pour 2 more kits out of these, so.
Hey, Charles, do you have that Bruichladdich 15-year bottle you can hold up for a second?
Yeah.
All
It's
right.
got the same, private cask label that you have on yours, Rob, but it's a custom front. It's a
I was drinking a Bruichladdich. I was drinking a tiny Bruichladdich 15 with Shalom the other night. And that one was beautiful and it tasted different than this. And I wanted to make sure that I wasn't going nuts, that it's
not the
actually a
same.
different bottle.
Yeah, it's different. He
Yeah.
doesn't have one of these. Yeah. He has tasted this one though. He tasted it at Vinny's house, and he gave it a 91.
I think I'm off. My taster's off tonight because all these taste like cold.
It tastes like Coke.
Colila.
Oh, Kalila. Oh yeah, your taste buds are way off. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I gotta go drink an Octomore and then come back to these. I'll be back. I'm gonna go grab an Octomore.
This is a really great dram. Oh my god.
This one's incredible for me.
It's what?
This for me is like the most subtle, perfectly balanced peat I've ever experienced. It's like peaty enough, but not too peaty where it overwhelms you. And you can taste other notes besides the peat, which is unusual for me.
There is something about the sweet and smoke that works really well. And Sauterne always, for whatever reason, is special. We've had other Port Charlottes with Sauterne before. They're fantastic. I don't know. Sweet and smoke works for me. Especially dessert wine, sweet and smoke. And port. If port is done the right way, with the right, not over ported, not just a light port, not a ruby port, but just a nice dry port.
Do you see a lot of heavily peated whiskeys finished in dessert wine casks like that?
Mostly from Bruichladdich. You don't see a ton from other people. Occasionally from Bruichladdich, you'll see some, but you're not going to see it from like Lagavulin or really Kalila. I mean, they're going to be more red wine focused, if anything, like Kalila will be. Yeah, not
Freud
a lot.
Cargis?
Yeah, not really. I mean, yeah, occasionally they'll play around with white port and stuff, and occasionally Sauterne, but it's not as common. I mean, Lafroig is
Really nice combo.
Lafroig is definitely a bourbon focused distillery. I mean, most of their things are high percentage bourbon or porter casks. They do have some PX stuff, but Bruichladdich for sure is playing around with wine more than anybody, and Bruichladdich would be second.
I know they're not Scotch, but Milk and Honey is also really into dessert wine casks.
Yeah, Kilhoman. Yeah, there are some Kilhoman as well. They're experimenting a lot, which is great. They're fantastic. Really exciting for them. All right. Everybody good with that? PC 20? All right. Hope I'm not going too fast. I know this is special tasting. It gets so loud. Okay, so we are going to move on to our SMWS bottling. I don't even remember when I bought this, but I bought it knowing I would use it at some point. You don't often see a Bruichladdich release, and you know, all of these single cask Bruichladdich can be really expensive as well. So you have to really kind of decide if you're going to roll the dice or not. I mean, they're always good, which is a good thing, but this one was this is a 10-year single cask, was $370 from the Scotch Malt Whiskey Society, which is a lot. I have to say, it's a lot. Not like unheard of by any means, because I've seen other things cost more and whatever, but a 10-year for 370 is a lot of money. And that's before tax and before shipping. So add it all up and you've got a whopper. All right. Okay, I'm gonna read this one. So you guys can stop talking. All right. I'm gonna read about this one so everybody can hear. Everybody. Even the people in the back room. You didn't even know there's a tasting of people in the back room. All right. So this one is SMWS 2378. It's called Smoky Seadog. It is a 10-year Isla first fill barrel. They were only allowing one bottle per member. And I'm going to read their notes because their notes are always fun. There were only 78 bottles in the US. It's 52.2% ABV. It was distilled in December of 2010. Here are the notes. Fresh linens drying in the sunshine with a waft of peat smoke coming from the nearby pagoda roof as we prepared a fresh mackerel ceviche with habanero. I mean, how can you beat that first sentence? All right, hold on. Everybody's going to hear. Yep. Hold on. All right. Fiery chili hot dogs in brine on the palate meat were followed by poached tuna steaks in a sauce ceviche. Cornichons and capers went with crashing medicinal waves in between. Oh my God. After the addition of water, a medicinal, salty, and mineral scent at first reminded us of camphor and menthol before the sweet smoke of whipped cream, treacle, and golden syrup appeared. The taste now a lot sweeter and fruitier, like prosciutto-wrapped apricots and seared scallops with Serrano ham. All right, go for it. So I can't tell if this is a Spanish whiskey or from Isla.
Charles, I didn't catch the ABV on that.
It was 52.2.
Thank you.
It just says first fill barrel. It doesn't say what type of barrel. And that's kind of the challenge with the Scotch Malt Whiskey Society. It's most likely a bourbon barrel, ex-bourbon barrel. Probably a hogshead by the color of it. 52.2. Yeah.
Wait, it drinks hotter than that. Woo.
So this is part of their vaults collection. So whenever you see a bottle that has the gold emblem on it, That's part of their vaults. So these are harder to get, or they're more expensive if you're willing to pay for them. And only 78 bottles in the US, so.
So what makes it hotter, Charles? I mean,
I think it's more of the youth, to tell you the truth. We're tasting
okay.
more of the
Okay.
distillate with this one than we are with the others. I mean, it's hotter, but I don't think it's hotter in a necessarily like bad way. It's just ashier. It's
No.
It's peatier. You know, I'm getting more smoke on this one. Not a balanced aged smoke, but more of a punchy smoke, which a lot of times comes from younger expressions as well. Not always, but sometimes. Yeah, I agree, Emily. I was thinking more, even though it is a lot, though. It's quite a bit. I'm trying to like kind of understand what barrel it is. I'll tell you the truth. I mean, obviously, it's probably a Port Charlotte barrel, but.
Charles, did you say this was peated?
Huh?
Did you say that this was peated?
Yeah. You're not getting smoke on this?
I mean, like not nearly as much as I don't know the 3.2, I guess. I mean, it's there, but it's more of an undertone than the 3.2, in my opinion.
There's definitely a lot of salinity on this one as well. I mean, it's one that makes you kind of smack your mouth afterwards. It's got that almost, you know, almost drying your mouth a little bit from the salinity.
I do like the mouthfeel at the finish. It does give a nice finish there. Not so sure about the beginning though.
It definitely sits in the back for me. Like, it's not a forward mouth coating dram. It kind of hangs out. The finish, I agree, is probably the best part of this dram, if anything. I'm not getting anything up front.
No, if you had the tartness, then I would say, where's the sherry barrel in there?
Yeah.
It's a dry finish, but yeah.
Seadog. I think this might be one that I'm just reading Rob's notes. I think this one might be one that you need to sit with for a long time. Like, your palate will slowly adjust to it and it will change over time. This is one that I think can be kind of rough on the edges. And this is also our 6th whiskey, so that you have to take that into consideration too. It's a little difficult to dissect in terms, for me it is. And some of that has to do with youth, but again, I've had incredible Bruichladdich whiskeys that are under 10 years old as well. So youth doesn't mean a lot to Bruichladdich, for sure. So you don't like whiskey, Rob? You're now cocktail man?
I don't know. I feel like all this stuff tastes hot and astringent. And I tried the 8.3, you know, just to like level set. And the first couple sips of 8.3 were like, oh, that's beautiful. All right, this is just not as good. And then I went back to the whiskey and I was like, all right, tastes like whiskey, I guess. And then went back to the 8.3, and then the 8.3 tasted astringent. So I feel like there's just something wrong with my face now. So it just, I should probably come back to this a different day. It's probably beautiful whiskey, but it all tastes like astringent garbage to me, which leads me to believe that it's a problem with me, not a problem with the whiskey.
Right. I love it. I love it. Yeah. Well, you've been out of the whiskey game too for a while.
I know. I feel terrible
Yeah.
about that. I don't feel terrible in general.
All right, what do you guys think of this one? I mean, obviously, it's kind of our highlight last dram, but where does this fall in the grand scheme of tasting for you guys? Anybody? I see you shaking your head. Not sure where.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, maybe somewhere in the middle. I mean, I like it, but I think I liked some of the previous ones better.
I like a lot of the other ones better.
Interesting.
Yeah, if you want to drink this on Christmas,
You wanna
I
drink
love
it
it.
for
It's a
Christmas?
great Christmas drink.
It's a great Christmas dram, Marshall. That's what you think?
That's right. I totally agree.
Yeah.
I thought it was great. Big fan.
I think
what
I
about
only
it?
said that in the chat because it's you're like sweet, honeyed, like salty ham
Yeah.
kind
It
of thing
doesn't
going on
overwhelm
here.
you with the peat. It's just, I
Yeah.
really think it's great.
Yeah. Little smirk, little
it's great.
smile.
It's
Yeah.
great for the digestion.
Yeah, drink it with barbecue.
Right.
It's like Underberg. You know, you just have it after dinner.
That's right.
Wash it
Help it
down.
wash down the goose.
That's it. All right,
Jeff, what's your favorite one of the
so where
night?
are we at? Where are we at with this one? Anybody? Number four.
So I came in late, Rob. So I only started on the 15 year, so I didn't try the 1.1 or the 1.2, but my favorite's the 3.2 by far. Well, not by far. This one's pretty good too.
So
Was somebody holding you back from drinking more whiskey?
My sons. Yeah.
Just share with them. They'll be fine.
I know, if only I had, then they would have gone to bed sooner.
3-1 and 15. So I'm gonna tell.
I don't know. My parents gave me Benadryl when they wanted me to go to sleep. Apparently, they got jealous of me. Whiskey's better than a
That's all
Benadryl.
Whiskey Society that they missed.
Probably not generally accepted.
Benadryl was.
That's fair.
$70 bottle, Charles. No, I'm a generous grader, but 85 bucks.
Oh my God. Wow. We have some rough, either it's rough seas on the Lock and Doll, or it's too much whiskey in some of these people's heads, but they're really bashing this last one, so it's kind of rough over here in the shop.
Charles, I have to be honest. I'm kind of surprised with the salty Seadog name. I mean, like, I don't know. In my head, it was more of like a Lefroy, right? Like super dry, like seaweed, iodine, Band-Aid in your mouth, kind of is what I'm in my head. What salty Seadog kind of suggested. This one is like I said, like a really nice kind of like salty honeyed ham. You know, I don't know.
They hired the same people that named the Wee Beastie.
I mean, what does a sea dog taste like? I think that's the bigger question. Like,
A salty
I
sea
know the
dog
answer to that
apparently
question.
tastes delicious.
Yeah. I know the answer to that question, but I'm not at liberty to discuss it.
yeah. All right, so I think we've kind of gone through these. Anybody else want to chime in on anything online before I close out and stop this recording before I get in trouble?
No, this has been great. Really enjoyed this.
Yeah,
It's been a wonderful tasting.
Yeah.
the way you have to look at these special tastings like this one is it's the opportunity, like it's the you know, these bottles are pretty rare to even be able to taste. And whether you like them or not, it's still fun to try all these different things. And that's truly the way that we learn and continue our whiskey journey. It's not all about owning a bottle and coveting a bottle and rebuying that bottle once it's gone. It's continuing the journey, trying new things and expanding our palates. And that was tonight's tasting and some special whiskeys. And I'm glad I was able to share these with you guys. So I will see you next time. And I hope you could hear me okay. I know it's getting loud here.
Oh, we heard you fine.
Okay, good.
Absolutely.
I have a professional
No
microphone
problem.
here, so I hope it works. So,
Thank you for sharing with us. This has been fantastic.
Yeah, it's been great.
All right, I'll see you
Thanks,
next
Charles.
time.
Cheers.
All right, have a good night.
Uh,
Thank you.